trying to do is actually engage and lift. We're opening up this area in the spine. So as we go up here, we're engaging here, and that's right where the diaphragm is. So when we do deep breathing, instead of like a lot of people will breathe in, and they get the good stretch, but then they let the belly come out. So the idea is keep it in together. So if you breathe in, try to hold that. You notice it's harder. So instead of using our hips to breathe and to move, we're actually resting on the muscles. So when the muscles are taking the load instead of the joints, the muscles get beat up. When the muscles get beat up, they build back stronger. So lengthening our spine is actually strengthening our spine. There's the muscles that decompress us, open up the joints, make us stronger, whereas if we're resting on the joints, they do the opposite. They get injured, they don't heal well, they don't have good blood supply, and they will harden, they will stiffen, because the inflammation creates calcium, and that's our arthritis in the future. You're not at all in the camp.
Yeah, I'm just turning my chair. I don't want to get blocky.
So, carrying that onto one-sided stretches, so like one IT band is tighter than the other one. These are things we need to work on as well, but the first thing is what we've been teaching the last 3 classes, strengthening the spine first. So we do lots of examples like this, but what I was thinking of today is just if I was going to turn, it's easy. But if I lengthen my spine, I can't go nearly as far and I actually get like a cramp in my back right at that diaphragm area we were talking about.
Okay.
So it's not about range of motion. Everyone thinks our spines are stiff, so we think, oh, I gotta get more range of motion. That's why things like yoga can hurt us, because it's chronic bending of the spine. It's creating motion in areas that actually need to be strengthened. So once we've got that spine strong, then we can start thinking about stretching. So if I'm engaged, I'm lengthening my spine, I'm strengthening it, then that's going to allow me to have a much better stretch. Same thing with like touching our toes or anything like that. If we're just bending at the spine, yeah, it's easy for me to get down and touch my toes. If I come down in a lengthened fashion, I go to touch my toes, I can't quite make it, right? So it's a better stretch, and my spine is...
Nice to see that.
Yeah. It's not about how far you can go. It's not a range of motion issue. We need it, because I'm actually getting a much better stretch in the muscles that are dominant, like my hamstrings. Like here, I actually don't feel my hamstring stretching that much. Whereas if I engage, lengthen first, then go down, much more hamstring stretching.
Okay, and your knees are bent a little bit?
Yeah, I think like people train for deadlifting, they're always keeping the knees lightly bent. So if I'm picking up an object, I don't know if the people can see this,
I have a lot of trouble with
but
that.
I'm keeping my knees lightly bent, hinging first at the femur joints here, the ball socket joint, so the spine stays straight the whole time. People do a bad deadlift, you'll notice they're here. The knees are straightened and locked out. Where I'm engaging, motion from the hips, and the knees have a loose bend, so it creates more hamstring tension when I'm picking up an object.
Okay.
Like that. It's actually a great stretch if you don't want to do any weights, or you do like a light kettlebell, something like that, making sure that the hamstring stays tense.
Cool.
Because the hips are forward, the hamstring tends to tighten. So here. Now if one hamstring is tighter than the other, that's when we can start switching things up. That's what we're doing today. So if we're going to like do the founder, like sometimes he'll do a lunge. So now he's doing a one-sided thing. Same thing, if you want to just, sometimes I'll just grab my calf, kind of work my way down, slowly kind of massaging, just feeling how hard this is compared to the other side, keeping that hinge, engagement, touch the floor, crawl your way back up, that way you're supported.
So what am I doing wrong if it hurts in the sacrum area?
If it hurts in the sacrum area, try and open up the joint more. See that little motion where I'm shifting? I'll notice that when I do that, my pressure goes out of my knee.
Okay.
Creates the hamstring tension. It's because I'm engaging the hip flexor is always going to put more tension on that hamstring, stretch it out.
Yeah, that feels
And then just
actually
keeping
good.
that engaged, slowly working down. Because you notice the fast motions, that's when you lose your engagement. You want to keep the engagement. Engagement is the spine being opened and lengthened.
Yeah, I have trouble holding it when I'm bending.
So people who have really weak spines, they'll just bend really fast and they'll have great range of motion, but they're cheating, they're all bending from the spine. Even with the chair exercise, most people are just like, oh yeah, what are you talking about? This isn't hard. But if you're engaged, even something like that,
Oh yeah, it's still hard.
it's like this, it's hard. So moving down slowly, same thing, you need that creepy crawl while keeping that spine length and don't let it go. So our tendency is just to bend at the spine, compensate, the head goes back, curl in, stuff like that. We all cheat in different ways, and it's all different posture types are all just weakness of the spine. It's all missing the same issue. That's why we address that first. That's why all these videos are talking about, like the tilting or the tilting. They're both missing one thing, and that's spinal engagement. Yeah, you could fix a problem like this. That's why our bodies do that naturally. If you are here and you've worn out this joint, your body will naturally, as you get older, because you've destroyed one side, will shift here. But you notice you'll still have the rounding, and this is what we see at the end of life, is people are in this stage, and they're weak because they just can't get up there. So this is actually, yes, part of the correction if you want to think about it that way, but now you have to lengthen without letting the hips go forward. Otherwise, we're just doing like this. I'm still resting on the joints in either position. I'm just resting on different joints. It's like, which joint do you want to destroy today? Do you want to destroy these joints or these joints? It's a rod for Peter to pay Paul, instead of resting on the muscles, which will get stronger the more you do it. Same principle, just checking yourself like this is hard, or if I'm weak, my hips go forward. If body's not engaged, this becomes easy. So anytime we're doing these one-sided stretches, focus on that. So yeah, the tight IT band.
Yeah.
So remember that, what was that side? It was tight on your left?
Well, for me, it felt like it was my right. But
Right side. Oh yeah, right behind you.
Right.
I was just trying to remember which side. You have the right arm up?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. We're getting the lat there, but you're also getting the IT band.
Really?
Remember, the muscle is here. So we need to work on that one. That's a good stretch for that. And usually when that one's tight, you'll be twisted, and a piriformis will get tight on the opposite side. And it creates like that corkscrew motion we'll have. You'll see this.
That's what it felt like.
So the one way to get the piriformis is just sitting and stretching, and a lot of people won't feel the stretch. You get the knee over, and like, do you feel that stretch? And they're like, no. It's because you need to lengthen the spine and hinge as you pull the knee forward, and then you're going to feel that more.
Your body's going forward.
Yeah. Putting your weight off the sacroiliac joint on your femurs to get that stretch. I feel it more on my right, and that's just the best way to do it. Sometimes if you don't know it's tighter.
Oh, I was just sitting up straight. I didn't lean forward, so that could actually hurt you just sitting straight.
Well, try both sides.
I don't want to do it right now. Because you just fixed it.
Which side? We just did the right. So
You did my
cross
right
your left.
side. Oh, maybe that's, I don't know how to do this because it hurts me.
And then you want to feel your weight on the ball socket joint, femur. And then you're hinging forward, you're tightening the muscle, the opposite muscle. So the piriformis, which is an external rotator of the hip, on your left, that one pulls this direction. So
I
you
don't
need
feel anything on my right side. Well, maybe just a little teeny something right here.
left
I
side.
feel it here.
Yes, you want to feel on the left.
Yeah, okay.
I'm stretching the left. This is different than the IT band stretch. We're saying
Okay,
this is how
so
it compensates. You
lean
need to do
forward.
both sides. Two to make trouble.
I'm scared to do that.
So don't do, try the other side if you want. It should feel harder on your left, and that's the way you compare.
It sort of does feel like it's still in my sacrum back in there.
So this one should feel like you have
This hurts
less
me a lot to
resistance.
do this.
Does it hurt or does it feel restricted?
It hurts me. It hurts me. It hurts me right
But
here.
did the other side feel
It
tighter?
hurts me right here. Oh yeah, it's tight. Both sides are tight.
Which side's tighter?
Um,
Like tighter. It's not painful. Pain doesn't always mean tight.
that was easy to lift up. This is probably tighter because I can't
If
get it
it's
up
harder to
easy.
lift up, there you go.
Yeah.
So we can't always use pain as
Right. Just it. Yeah.
is
I've learned
it
to-
tighter? Because a lot of people keep stretching their hip flexor over and over because it hurts and it feels tight. Remember, we can have a tightness, but sometimes that's a taut. It's overstretched. It's like if I stretched that like a TheraBand out, that still, it would feel tight to you, right?
Mhm.
So you would like push into it. Oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
But it's actually, the last thing you want to do is stretch it more.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to grasp
because it
The
hurts.
sprain
Usually the one that's
thing.
in this sprained position is if it's in a lengthened position that's more susceptible to sprain. They go that way too.
So if it is sprained,
That's
how
the one
does
too.
it feel?
It's going to hurt.
It will hurt. Okay.
Remember, our joints actually, we don't get too much pain in sometimes. It's actually the muscles that surround it that are injured.
That's what that's what I'm trouble with.
Because a lot of people with tons of arthritis, like that, or the ladies that are really bent over here, they don't have back pain. They're like coming to the chiropractor because like, well, I don't have any pain. It's just they told me I have a hump.
That is just
They really don't
crazy.
feel it. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Because your spine is very good at compensating. That's why we do this. Because as soon as you fight against that, that's when it kind of hurts. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
and your body doesn't want to do that. It's like, why would I want to press up and lengthen when I feel like this cramp? So your body's good at, well, I don't want to be in pain, so I'm going to shift and move to stay out of pain. That's what your body's good at. So sometimes the fighting against that strengthens us, but also stretches the tight areas. So that's the dancer stretch, the IT band. You did the right side.
Yes, my
So
right
you
side
were-
was the bad one. The little
Put the
ballerina
leg
thing.
down, then you're same thing. You're kind of hinging forward,
Cool.
and then breathing,
So
trying
I
to keep that
hinge
engagement.
forward.
And I was
I don't
really,
just stay straight.
yeah, you want to get that forward. You don't want to be here around it. You want to be a lengthened hinge.
Okay.
Because if I'm here, I'm actually compressing the spine. That's that extension issue. You see how this gets
Right.
compressed, and that's like the yoga thing. Everyone wants to open up,
No,
exaggerate.
I know not to
But
do
we need
that.
to engage, and that's why I kind of force you to lift in, take this position, because then we're opening, lengthening the spine. But don't let your head be round. Get that head up. And then breathe, lengthen. If you don't feel a cramp here, you're not doing something right. You want to
Right.
fight for that.
I fight for that.
And same thing, keep that engaged in the core even when you're breathing. Don't let the belly go out. Otherwise your spine will start compressing again. Because the multifidus muscles and all the erector muscles are actually these little muscles, these little tiny muscles that do the opposite of what we think. We think muscle contraction, we think this. But what they're designed to do is take your spine and lengthen it.
Right. So, right. I'm just lifting this up.
And that's all from this. Taking out
Oh,
pelvis,
kissing my back.
engaging and lifting, any type of exercise, one-sided thing.
So what makes it, when you're lifting and you're taking the air in, what is actually making it hurt in that shoulder blade area? What is actually making, why the cramping? I know I know that you say that you're doing it right if it's cramping, but what is actually making it cramp?
It's going to hurt in the restrict